Uh, what was I gonna say? Um, is putting yourself on the internet a good thing, or are there no good outcomes from doing that? Is it really a good thing? Could it be used for good to build something? I suppose, maybe. Like people find out what you're talking about and then they follow you. Uh, anyways, or is it always just a liability? Is always just going to be a liability. Like you shouldn't be doing that because you're just asking to be, um, you know, you're just providing tons of stuff for people to use against you, I guess. What are they going to use against me? I'm not saying anything I don't think, but sometimes when you say stuff you do think, that's when they get you. I was thinking about, I don't know how well this is picking up my audio, but I was thinking about the dating dilemma and stuff and the dynamics of it. And just that, like, just the frame of mind that I guess guys who are single are meant to put themselves in. Like, because it's true, you do kind of have to like psych yourself up to a degree in order to be like playing the game. At least I say that. At least like you have to on some conscious level uh consciously choose to be playing the game. And like you're either really going to give it a shot or you're not. Uh and So anyways, what I was trying to say was that you there's a few different ideas that kind of like conflict with each other. Like one is like you can't one idea is that if a girl likes you, you're going to know it and it'll be very obvious. And in fact, it makes you like when a girl likes you that much, it kind of makes you pause and go, why did I waste my time? Like, oh, this is what actually being liked is like. This makes way more sense. Like, this is just easy. This is just, now there's easy too, which has different connotations. But for this part of what I'm saying, I just mean easy as in, uh, it feels very natural and very un forced. And then you get something like that, and that happens when a girl really, really, really likes you. And that happens instead of who's still playing her own side. You have the girl that just really, really likes you, and you're leading the show regardless because she's like, whatever you want to do, she just wants to be with you. So you could basically, anyway, and it's just a really nice way to live, obviously. And like I said, when you do have that, it makes you think like, holy cow, what was I doing wasting my time with all those other girls who were just toying with me basically, or just like playing for their own side, you know what I'm saying? That's the best way to think of it, I guess. They're still like playing their own hand. Now, even the girls that really do like you a lot, every once in a while they're going to play their own hand and try to, but that's usually just to show you, that's really a teaching thing to like sort of shore up any like weaknesses in how you're acting. Like, let me just take away the support a little bit, and maybe that'll make them stop and think. And that really is the best strategy. It's all natural. It all makes sense. Like, it's all organic. It all organically happens. Animals act this way. And yeah. And so that's good. It teaches it's sort of just, anyway, the whole thing is good because it's very supportive, and it also creates growth in the person being supported. So, in terms of a guy trying to secure a relationship like this, what are the strategies? You have the idea of like, this is strategy number one, which is like just endlessly self-improve. Endlessly self-improve and don't accept anything less. And then at the same time, have your own better self be the bait, so to speak. And inevitably this will create, you'll get interest. It will happen because you are making an impact on people when you're around. Everywhere you go, you're sort of you're sort of saying like, okay, everybody, what do you think? That's sort of happening like subliminally. And so the strategy being endlessly improve yourself until that's all you have to do is show up and say, what do you think? Meaning you're not really doing a lot of like trying to elicit interest. You're not trying to elicit interest. You're just improving yourself, and and other than that, your mind's free. You're not hung up on like somebody not texting you back or trying to think of the right words or anything like that. The more like status, and it's not just status. I hate using the word status all the time. That's the word they chose to use for it, but just like your general station in life, I guess. Mostly financial. Pretty much all financial, I guess. Like, yeah, he's a Satan worshiper, but he makes a lot of money. Well, everything's relative anyway. Who cares? Satan, whatever. My husband does woodworking. Hers worships Satan. They both have great jobs. Like, at the end of the day, and that's kind of what's fucked up about society, too. It's sort of like feeding itself into whatever gets the money flowing is what we're going to go by. And that's not, that will quickly destroy any society. But anyways, so anyway, you're improving yourself, and then you're going to use that as the bait, and otherwise you're not really going to try to elicit interest from anybody. Now, if you're just naturally talented at it, or you have having higher status has given you a natural advantage, even if you're not good at it, it's honestly like it really has nothing to do with game at all. It really just all has to do with status. You know, it's not that those high status guys have better game too. They don't have better status. And it's got a lot to do with birth control, taking away making women more neurotic than they used to be, and taking away a little bit of that like primal testosterone stuff. Like, now they can just exist in a pool of estrogen in their brain constantly, and only think in a female way, and never never get out of that. I mean, think about it. You put all the women in 1962 on birth control, it takes out whatever blip or whatever of testosterone they naturally have. and you do that for all women. Well, guess who controls mating? Women. So you fuck up their hormones, putting them on these things, which it just causes them to behave differently as a sexual actor than they were acting prior. And there's a lot of different little ways that manifested. But you know how you like keep talking and there's like this little fuzz? And no matter how many times you swallow or cough, it just like keeps being there. So anyways, let me get some coffee. All right. There's this fucking cokehead dude I work with. I don't really work with him. He works in a different department, but just came to work and got everybody sick. Just said, fuck all of y'all. I'm going to fucking come in here and just cough on all of you guys in this stagnant air inside that you can't get out of because this is where you have to sit to work. And I'm just going to walk around you and puff little pneumonia clouds around you. And you can just sit here and breathe in all of my germs all day long. Fuck you. And that's what he did. And so now I'm a little bit sick. But anyways, you put all these women on birth control, and that changes their how they select men. It of course prevents them from having children, so that totally changes the dynamic right there for a whole generation. Whereas women would have had like a generation of kids from being horny, from having a little bit of testosterone in their system. A set of kids would have been made. And then they would have been basically done as sexual actors. They would have been mothers at that point. They're not playing in the sexual marketplace anymore. They're just being mothers. They're just family women at that point. That's what non-birth control would have resulted in. Then you introduce birth control, and now you have a whole generation of women that, like, it acts like a strainer. It's like 80, I would say, I mean, at this point, it's almost 100% of women, but I would say that it just sort of catches women in this net to like keep them in the sexual marketplace, as opposed to going all the way through to motherhood. The fuck is in my throat? So you do that for a generation. Anyway, and guess what? They're the ones that set mating. They are the ones that they are the gatekeepers to mating for the entire species. Maybe that's a little dramatic language, but I'm just saying. Where women go sexually is where men have to follow. Right? So what I'm saying is that the birth control, not only keeping women in the marketplace longer and having less kids like that, but I'm saying hormonally, they interact with women differently. I mean, with men in a different way, I would say. I would argue that. Than they do when they're off birth control. I would argue that 100%. I'm not saying that's the end-all, be-all answer to everything. That's not what I'm saying. I'm simply making a point. That it just turns them a little more cold, a little more calculated, a little more withholding, a little more neurotic, a little more feminized, a little more chaotic. Not to mention the psychological problems that are brought on by, basically being a whore. And never submitting to a man, basically. Never submitting to a man. Just being like on your birth control and you're just out there fucking all kinds of guys. And that's strength. You're supposed to be convinced that powerful woman strength or something to just be this like ragged thing that gets fucked by everybody out here. That's your pride, that's your independence. Um and basically, yeah, and it's unfortunate because so anyways, in terms of like as a single guy, especially in 2023, you just got to have more status because women are not just gonna they're not just gonna like you for you. And I don't know if that's true or not. I really don't know. It's hard to say. It's honestly very difficult to even say. Will do women like men for themselves at all? Or has everything been turned into a giant game of power dynamics? And this was like a point I was making earlier, which is that it makes women colder, it makes them more calculated, but it also shares with other, not talking about women, but with other stuff. Which is that, Christianity is based in recognizing the truth of God and the truth of love as the real reality, as love as a reality, as a real truth, love, God, as a real component to reality, like as an actual existing part of reality. And therefore, it pushes for the idea that things, social things, human behavior is not totally dictated by advantage seeking alone. That everything doesn't just boil down to power dynamics. And increasingly, everything in our society has moved in the direction of attempting to boil everything down to power dynamics and then take advantage of those power dynamics for selfish gain, like for selfish reasons. To say, oh, well, this old tradition or this system over here that society has that, well, it's just based in old nonsense. This thing that society inherited, that we inherited, that was founded in God and founded in love, and made and upheld and continued on for the purpose of love and for that recognition that society has that there is a real love out there is a real God out there is a real, that aspect to reality does exist. And so we're going to recognize that as a society and make a place for it and make this system that respects that. Okay. And basically today, the idea is, well, those systems, those are all just relics of a bygone era that, that's all based in superstition and myths and fairy tales, and we ought to take that system, and aren't we smarter because we can see right through it. And so we're going to take whatever that system is, whether it's marriage, family, basic human morals, decency, whatever it is, We're going to deconstruct it into the the bones of the power dynamics of it. So it turns things like marriage into, now we can only look at marriage in terms of power. Now that is the only way people view marriage, is as a power trade-off, is as a transaction. And we're going to have a bunch of automaton millennials and automaton Zoomers, or everybody going forward who's been, marinated in this type of thinking, who are just out there like these, like, there's no sense of why we're doing anything except like cold calculated advantage in terms of dating, in terms of anything. And that's why, like, when I go back to when I go to other countries that are not the US, I feel it's like a warm blanket, because I can feel their humanity more than I can feel it here. More than I can feel it here. I can just feel it in just in the sense of what everybody's paying attention to and what's being prioritized, and the manner in which people talk to each other, and things aren't so hostile, things aren't so transactional, things are like, it's like, no, we're not doing this because it helps us or it helps you, or we're doing this because this is its own thing, and we're doing it because it's its own thing, and we're human beings, so we're going to do this thing that human beings do. There's that kind of a sense. Versus here, it would be like, well, how much money are you making off of it? First off, why would you ever have dinner with your family? Are they going to pay you? It's that kind of a thinking over here. Whereas over there, it's like, yeah, they'll do it even if it makes them poorer, even if some other selfish advantage is overruled by doing it. They do it anyway, because guess what? There's another spiritual advantage to it, that as a group, we are all doing something that is good for our spirits together, for the sake of love, for the sake of truth, for the sake of acknowledging, our place in the universe as spiritual beings, and not just like transactional bullshit. But anyways, it's all about transactions in the US. Everything is transactional. Everything is transactional in the US. Everything. It's horrible. It's fucking horrible. And the culture has been totally destroyed. There's no more good music. There's nothing good to go hang out in a crowd for. I mean, maybe you really will have a great conversation at the farmer's market this weekend. Maybe you will. Maybe you will. Probably you won't. There's just nothing. You had like ghetto booty, just like obscene rap culture to be dominated by obscene rap culture. That's what they gave us. And they're like, like, I don't understand why you're so fucked up about being single and all that shit. Come on, booty, booty. Come on, hoes, bitches, you know, porn, money. Come on, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you in love with somebody? I don't know. I don't know. I should be. I would be very easily. But it's just it's just that, like, if everything's just cold calculated transaction, I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm not saying by a power diet. If you think only through that frame, you can make things make sense through that frame, but it's a false um dialectic. It's a false you say, well, that would just excuse you from the whole system of just like improve yourself and wait for interest to come to you is also simultaneously a cope, right, for not ever making any effort. There's like contradictory advice here, and there's truth in the idea of not approaching, because women don't want to be approached. They really don't. They don't. It's kind of like, "Excuse me, ma'am, would you like to interview me?" "Excuse me, ma'am, would you like to interview me?" "Excuse me, ma'am, you are very pretty, and you could probably have any guy you want. Care to hear about my care to hear about whatever the fuck I'm about to talk to you about? Care to take 5 minutes with me?" And obviously, you don't do it that way, but there is that dynamic going on. God damn, that's a beautiful guitar. Wow. Wow. That's probably like a $6,000. Murphy Lab Light Aged. So it's a brand new guitar, but they've aged all of the wood artificially. But there's just something about how the view gives it, and I like the old ones better. It just feels like the string space. Like that. I don't know what it is. Anyways, what was I saying? I need to go to the gym. It's 8:09. If I go by 8:30, workout, come back by like 10, that should be fine. don't think I'm that sick. I just need to I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to do anything to get any sicker than I already am, but I don't really think I'm that sick. I think I caught a little bit of shit and it's annoying, but I don't feel like, oh God, I need to just lay in bed. I don't feel like that at all. I'm ready to go do stuff. But anyways, yeah, and then literally some of the advice is just be in the, and I have to agree, there has to be enough playground, enough you have to have a stage. Basically, you have to treat the world like your stage when it comes to women. It's not walking up to a woman and just being like, and there's no hard rules. There's really not any hard rules. It's just that I've never had success talking frankly about like I don't say it like I'm like I'm interviewing her or anything. I don't say it like that, but I'd say anytime, any honest effort at being vulnerable, like I said, and just asking somebody out, it has always ended terribly for me. And it hasn't felt comfortable and it hasn't felt natural. And it wasn't, I don't know. It felt like I was just doing something I should be doing. Because everybody's around me, watching me, waiting for me to do this thing. And then you do it and you get no good results. You get, so what is it? Should I have been a football player? Is that why I'm having a hard time? Should I have, I guess I was supposed to have been richer by now, so maybe that's the problem, or I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. And I'm kind of tired of trying to figure it out, to be honest. I just exist. I just exist. And there's really not, I don't know that there's anything that's going to come out of any of this. I could sit here and try to pick it apart and figure out where I went wrong and all that stuff. I don't know what's going to happen. Make an effort towards it. Make an effort. Always make an effort. At least make an effort. I mean, what am I supposed to be doing? What am I supposed to be doing? Tell me what I'm supposed to be doing. Well, one thing would be be around more single women more. There aren't any. Guess what? There aren't any. Guess what? There are not any. And wherever they are, they're staying inside wherever they are too. They're not out. There's not single women out walking around. Sometimes there are, but I don't know. It's just a weird thing because when they're out, It's like, what difference does that make? They don't want to have anything to do with me. They do not want to have anything to do with me. And so they don't have anything to do with me. Believe me. I think I scare women, honestly. I think women are honestly scared. Ugh. It's like something in my throat. Yeah, I think I scare women. Every girl I've gotten with, I mean, I think women in general are a little bit maybe not scared of men is not the right way to say it, but just in general, they're, you know, the weaker sex. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm just saying, maybe that's got something to do with it. I don't know. Every woman that I've been with has like basically fallen in love with me. And I want to fall in love too. But I wasn't really in love with these girls. And or was I? I don't know. I don't think I was. I think I could have possibly, if conditions were different and circumstances were different and we were both younger and it happened differently, I would probably fall in love with those girls too. But that wasn't the case. What the case was, you know, I don't know. A big part of the case was for me, the fact that I was just taking somebody that was giving themselves to me. And not, I wasn't pursuing anything. But like I said earlier, like it just came to me. I mean, I pursued a little. But then again, it's like, what is pursuing? If you know she already likes you, she already likes you, you don't have to pursue. But maybe you ought to a little bit. Just to sort of keep it flowing. What was I going to say? Is that the only thing that will make you feel like you want to be with the person? Is if if you know you had to pursue her to get her? But she's always going to hold that over your head. She's always going to hold that over your head. You had to chase me. From the start onward of y'all's relationship, you're constantly going to have to be reproving yourself. And which is kind of bullshit, honestly, because life is hard enough. What you want is a girl that's already really likes you, who isn't, whose contribution to your life is not a stress, is not as a stressor, meaning doesn't give you anxiety about like, oh no, she may be losing interest. That's not, if that's the role your woman has in your life, she's taking away more than she's giving. And probably using you probably using you a little bit. Versus women that really like you, they support you and they make you stronger. And they give you, they boost your sense of self to a higher status, to a higher level than normal. You know, even when you don't expect it. Even in weird ways that are like very nuanced and subtle. In weird ways, you're just like, oh, wow. This is fucking nice. And I don't know what else I was trying to say there. So anyways, I'm gonna wear this. All right. But I guess I still just have an open question of like, as somebody who's like generally poor, right? Like I only make a little bit of money a year. You know what I mean? I'm not dirt poor, but I'm basically like survival poor, you know? Survival poor, right? I hate money. I think money is the most evil thing on planet Earth. Okay. But you have to have money. And I don't pursue money like we're robotically supposed to in this fucking horrible country we live in. But anyway, I don't think like that. I'm not like a military Joe, like Protestant, like life is about working and life is about money and power and gaining more money and more power. Because everything is about power dynamics and everything is about working and, you know, I enjoy working, you know, when it's something that's like engaging to do, I enjoy it. That's why I enjoy what I'm doing right now. I've never been able to say that about a job before. I actually enjoy my job. Creating things on the computer. But anyways, what I was saying is I don't have this like insatiable desire to get more money and more and more and more money. And it's like increasingly you have to be that way just to even have a ticket on the train. And and then you turn around and you see some some fat guy bar worker who you wouldn't expect to make a lot of money. It's just confusing. All of it is confusing. Is it the money? What is it? Because what I was going to say is you see like you see some dudes that just you would think would have no shot in hell. And then suddenly you see one of them walking around with like a, a 7 or an 8, looks wise. And you're just like, what the hell? Where's mine? What the hell am I doing wrong? I mean, it must be me, right? I don't know. It's got to be me at this point. So what am I doing? What am I not doing? Is it me? I don't know. What am I doing? What am I doing wrong? I only ever meant to do the right things in my life. I was never like a rebel. I was never like bent on I mean, I was always like, more so than not on board with people's expectations of what I should be doing or whatever. I was always on board with that. I played along. I played along the whole time. But that doesn't serve you. That doesn't serve anything. Because, I don't know. You have to, it's just like everything in America is so fundamentally flawed and broken that it's hard to take anything seriously here. It's hard to take anything here seriously. Jobs, education, just authority in general. Like, it's so bald-faced. Self-evidently, screamingly, obviously broken that to even like interact with it unironically at all is like hard to do. Like, I'm always going back to like bigger picture how retarded it is. And I can't stay inside of it in order to give it the due attention it needs to be gotten through. Because it's hard for me to even get through the thing I don't know. And versus like in other societies where standards really are good ones and they're upheld and like things are being kept account of and operating the way they ought to be operating, and no system's perfect. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying there's not this like widespread, just total decay of standards in everything. Like the hollowness of it. America is like incredibly hollow. It's just, it's like it's like one of those fake towns in an amusement park that just has cardboard behind it. You know? It's kind of like that, America. And therefore, it's hard for me to like, in order to get ahead here, you need to treat those fake cardboard buildings like they're real. they have to be treated like they're the real thing. Because for all intents and purposes, they're operating like they're the real thing. And so you gotta just hold your nose and do it, you know. And and for me, that's been one of the things that, like, I can't. It's like I can't hold my nose long enough to just to not just be totally alienated by it. I feel really alienated by fake things. I feel extremely alienated when I'm forced into interaction with very fake things, or just where you can sense at a root fundamental level that the thing is fake, or that the thing is just you can sense it sometimes. Not everybody can. And that's why most people can't. That's why most people are totally okay with just whatever. Like, tell me what to believe and what I need to do. And tell me what my reward is. And then that's all I need to know. Thank you very much. I'll just keep spouting this over and over. And I'll keep doing this over and over. And I'll receive this over and over. And that's it. I got it. I'm not going to ask why. I'm not going to. Maybe if I had a better example of, like, maybe if I had a better example of people, like, leisurely enjoying life together, then maybe I would be more inclined to just be like, yeah, everything's bullshit, but I don't care. Because I'm just here enjoying life with whoever. And this is really what life's about. But I also find that really uninteresting, and I also find that kind of fake too in and of itself. Everybody's curious about what's going on. And there's like this breed of people that are just like proud of being like, I don't know, downtrodden, or I don't know. It's like they take pride in being, I don't know. It's a hard thing to describe. See, I'm already getting over it. What time is it? It's time to go to the gym. Again, baby. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.